Chapter 5 Obasan. It is past midnight when I waken to see Obasan enter the bedroom with a flashlight in her hand. What is it? I ask, switching on the bedside lamp and frowning against the sudden light. It was in the attic, surely, she says. An open stairwell to the attic is built along the inside wall of my bedroom, and she grasps the railing. What was in the attic? I ask, rubbing my eyes and sitting up. I put my slippers on and follow her as she climbs the narrow stairs one step at a time. At this hour, Obasan? The best position is behind her, holding the railing with my left hand, my right arm poised to catch her if she stumbles. Slow can go, I say. At the top of the stairs, I push open the square ceiling door carefully. A pencil line of dust drops through the crack. The light from the bedroom is just enough to show the outlines of a number of cardboard boxes, a small trunk, a pile of magazines and newspapers. I arc the flashlight along the floor where there are some glass kerosene lamps covered in thick dust. In the nearest corner by the eaves is a dead sparrow on its back, its feet back like a high diver's. What are you looking for? I ask, breaking off the web dangling from the steep-angled, rough ceiling. Somewhere here, she says. She squats in front of a pile of cardboard boxes. Her hands, pulling, pushing, tugging, are small, weak fists. They remind me, these hands, that toil but do not embrace, of the wings of a wounded bird, battering the ground in an attempt at balance. Lost, she said occasionally. The word for lost also means dead. She turns to face me in the darkness. Eyes can no longer see. My shoulder brushes against a canvas bag hanging from a nail in the beam. The lumps protruding here and there are the tools Grandfather Nakane brought when he came into this country. Chisels, a hammer, a mallet, a thin pointed saw, the handle extending from the blade like that of a kitchen knife. I can feel the outline of the plane with the wooden handle, which he worked by pulling it towards him. There is a fundamental difference in Japanese workmanship, to pull with control rather than push with force. Obasan is searching through the bundles of old letters and papers. She picks up a yellow wallet-sized ID card. I shine the flashlight on it, and there is Uncle's face, young and unsmiling, in the bottom right-hand corner. Ishamu Nakane, number 00556. Beside the picture is a signature which looks like McGibbon's, Inspector, RCMP. She lifts the thick glasses from around her neck, and her magnified eyes are as blurry as the sea. She stares at the picture for a long time. Finally, she puts the ID card in her apron pocket. This is not what she is looking for. She squats beside a pile of magazines. Life, New Liberty, Mechanics Illustrated, most from the 50s. As she pushes a box aside, she stretches the corner of a spider's web, exquisitely symmetrical, balanced between the box and the magazines. A round black blot, large as a cat's eye, suddenly sprouts legs and ambles across the web, shaking it. It pauses, and another spider of a different variety comes scuttling up. It is lighter in color. Its legs more muscular, striped and tapered. Its antennae are short knobs that protrude like eyes from its head. Sidling aggressively, it reaches its long pincer legs out towards the first. The tips touch. In a burst of speed, the first spider leaps down the roadway of webs and disappears into the floorboards. Its flight is so sudden, I recoil, jerking my arms up, sending the beam of light over the ceiling and a whole cloudy scene of carnage. Ah, what a sight! A graveyard and feasting ground combined. Shredded rag shapes, thick with dust, hang like evil laundry on a line. A desperate wash day. Spiders, I would say, are indelicate. Give you the creeps, the children say. I wish Obasan would find what she's looking for. The dust, light-winged as soot, is swarming thickly, a pummel across the light. Everything, I suppose, turns to dust eventually. A man's memories end up in some attic or in a Salvation Army bin. His name becomes a fleeting statistic, and his face is lost in fading photographs. The clothing quaint, the anecdotes gone. All our ordinary stories are changed in time, altered as much by the present as the present is shaped by the past. Potent and pervasive as a prairie dust storm, memories and dreams seep and mingle through cracks, settling on furniture and into upholstery. Our attics and living rooms encroach on each other, deep into their invisible places. Obasan shuffles to the trunk and stoops to lift the lid. The thick dust slides off like chocolate icing sugar, antique pollen. Black fly corpses fall to the floor. She pushes aside the piles of old clothes, a 1920s nightgown, a peach-colored woolen bathing suit. A whiff of mothballs wafts up, the odor of preservation. Shall I help you? I ask, not knowing what she seeks. Everyone dies. Everyone someday dies, she answers. I scan the contents of the trunk, zigzagging the flashlight beam over the old clothes. The thin, flowery patchwork quilt Mother made for my bed when I was only 4 years old is so frayed and moth-eaten, it's only a rag. I remember standing by the sewing machine, watching as her hands, quick as birds, marched and arranged the small triangles of colored cloth. I would like to drop the lid of the trunk, go downstairs, and back to bed, but we're trapped, Obasan and I, by our memories of the dead. All are dead. Those who refuse to bury themselves, like the threads of old spider webs, still sticky and hovering. The past waits for us to submit or depart. When I least expect it, a memory comes skittering out of the dark, spinning and netting the air, ready to snap me up and ensnare me in old and complex puzzles. Just a glimpse of a worn-out patchwork quilt, and the old question comes thudding out of the night, again like a giant moth. Why did my mother not return? After all these years, I find myself wondering, but with the dullness of expecting no response. Please tell me about Mother, I would say as a child to Obasan. I was consumed by the question, devoured alive. But Obasan gave me no answers. I have never had the key to the vault of her thoughts. Even now, I have no idea what urgency prompts her to explore this attic at night. Is it enough, Obasan? Shall we go downstairs? She turns to face me. Her glasses, thick as marbles, dangle from the chain around her neck. Lost, she says. The light from the flashlight grazes her forehead as I sweep it in a final arc around the attic. Her hair is so fine that her scalp shows through, the texture of skin, hair, and net almost translucent. What is lost?